You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. So usually at the conclusion of a game, I rush and do the regular Packernet episode. And I might regret not doing that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm a little bit... So I stayed completely away from social media. I'm getting little tidbits here and there. I'm trying not to dig. I probably should dig in. But I guess I just need your help a little bit to see what you saw. Because I saw some things that... I've never been so gaslit in my life. I've never in my life felt like I'm watching something and the whole world is telling me that it's something else. And I feel like I'm freaking crazy. I mean, you want to talk about the emperor has no clothes. I'm sitting there watching and they're like, oh, what a beautiful outfit you're wearing. I'm like, dude, that dude is just hanging out right now. Like, am I crazy? And nobody's saying anything. I mean, and we're watching turnovers that are reviewed and a blatant hit to somebody's face happen. Never mind. I'll save that for the next one. I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm absolutely going crazy. We do have a new caller, so we will start with that. Let me change the friggin' setting. Let me take the sweatshirt off because it's hot down here. I hate everything.
Yeah, who's the ref that calls everything against the Packers? Are you kidding me? Maybe he better put an Eagles jersey on. This is ridiculous. Somebody needs to call his number in right now before we lose this game.
Well, we got to figure out a name for you first and foremost. I appreciate the call. I'm glad that was the first call because, again, I feel like I'm going freaking crazy. Listen, I don't know. I shouldn't narrate. I'll save it for the podcast. I don't understand. I just don't understand. I hate to give you a name off that, but if I don't, then it's not going to recognize your number. And I'm just going to keep thinking you're a new caller. You know what? I'm going to let this one go. I don't feel like coming up with names right now. I'm not in the mood. Next time you call, and I hope you call back, you will be a new caller again. I don't know. Let me just read this to you real quick. I posted this on social media. I don't think I talked about it on the podcast, January 6th, so about a week ago. As soon as we found out who the referees were going to be, we got the Brad Allen crew. And so what did I do? Some people were mad, like, "Oh, you're making excuses early." I was like, I'm literally just trying to find out what the reputation of this crew is. Here we go. This is what AI came up with. Frequency of penalties. They have above average penalties on road teams. Brad Allen's crew has historically called an above average rate of penalties on road teams. This tendency was notably observed in games where there was a significant disparity in penalties called between home and away teams. Penalty trends. Home teams' performance. Since 2016, home teams officiated by Allen's crew have a 74, 53-1 record on the money line and a 69 and 56-3 record against the spread. And so, to be clear, you can't say, well, that of course the home team has a better record because they have home field advantage. This is against the spread. So this is above and beyond expectations, even knowing that it's a home team. Penalty frequency. In the 2024 season, Allen's crew averaged 10.78 penalties per game, ranking among the higher end of officiating crews in terms of penalty calls. Meaning what? Meaning they like to call ticky-tack crap and not really just let anything go. And then here's the biggest part. Game-deciding moments. Allen's crew has been involved in several games where officiating decisions in the final moments significantly affected the results. This includes both offensive and defensive penalties that were either missed or incorrectly called. As a result, due to these high-profile errors, there was an announcement that Brad Allen's crew would be downgraded and potentially excluded from officiating playoff games in 2024, indicating league acknowledgement of the issues with this crew's performance. Why they were allowed to do this, I don't know. But that's the crew that we got right there. Does that sound like a decent description of what you just watched? Sounds about right to me. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not going to pretend that it was the whole game and the reason we lost, but I'm not going to sit here and just defend it. That's appalling. It was an appalling performance by the referees and our offense, but the referees too. Just shockingly terrible. Anyway, now we're going back. Oh, shoot. All right, we'll play this. Peter Thomas got in at 9:13. I started it, so we'll just do it.
Hi, it's Peter from Milwaukee. Hey, it's game day.
You know what, Peter? I'm sorry. I'm not, because I get the impression that it's like, we're going to come in and start hyping this up. And I don't want to do it knowing that we lost. Also going to skip you. Chris called in just before. We got Dirt Trader, Jared the Uber driver at 3:45. So this should be good. Here we go.
All right, Keyshawn Nixon just fumbled. Tell me this game isn't rigged without telling me this game isn't rigged. Bye.
I will never. I don't know that I'll ever get. I don't know what's been going on social media. I have no idea. I'm just stunned that there was a deliberate helmet-to-helmet contact that not only was missed, but they reviewed it and decided nothing bad happened. They also had announcers that watched it 500 times over and over again. Not one time did anybody mention the helmet-to-helmet. In fact, Brady's over there saying it was a great hit, right on the numbers, right on the football, just bounced it right out. And then on top of that, Keyshawn Nixon very clearly recovered the football. They can see him recover the football, and then they can't really see anything else. And they decided not only was it not a penalty, we didn't see anything wrong, but the other team actually recovered it, even though we have no visual of that actually happening, other than by the time 5 minutes later that we pulled everybody apart, an Eagle had the ball. What? I mean, listen, if you're not a Packer fan and you're listening, if you're a Packer fan that's rolling your eyes about tell me what I'm supposed to feel about that. I don't want to make it about the refs. And we got a lot to talk about this offseason about this team. But I shouldn't have to be talking about the refs right now. In fact, by the time that game was over, I actually was starting to feel a certain way, and that was going to be the entire way that this podcast was going to go. And, I was, and then that final play happened, and yeah, Jordan's just doing stupid stuff, whatever. But it was a very clear and obvious pass interference. And it's the same thing. Turnovers are reviewed. So they saw it happen right in front of their face. Then they reviewed it. Nothing. They didn't see it the first time. They didn't see it on review. And again, I'm being gaslit by the announcers who are saying that the ball was underthrown, so therefore you're allowed to tackle a receiver. I don't know. I don't have enough to be upset about as it is. Without frickin' without this crap. Kyle, what's up?
Well, it's Kyle from Madison, and I don't know how you look at that and give that to the Eagles. I mean, yes, he did fumble it, but dude, there's just no chance. He's not sitting there with the ball. So, if they're going to make that call, we're probably screwed. If that's how the game's going to go, this is such a bad harbinger. Certainly ain't over, but they're probably going to punch this in, and that better not be a harbinger of the kind of calls and shit we're going to get here. Excuse me. Go Pack.
Sorry to tell you that's exactly what's going to be happening.
Well, who says Philadelphia is not a nice place to go? I mean, they even put the green light on the clock tower for us, so that's pretty hospitable. The defense, I needed to see some kind of, I kind of count this as their first defensive series, the first one I'm going to spot them,
right.
But needed to see something, to get the hope ignited again, and they did get a nice stop there. So we're going to need to get some pass rush, but let's get some points on this drive, and then things are going to, look a little different here. So let's go Pack.
Very, very happy with the defense. I'm sure some people are going to be whining about, well, you got to close out. Close out what, dude? Close out what? We were never coming back. They shut this offense down over and over and over and over and over again. Give me a break. Hello. Nobody there? Okay, fair enough. Arles, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Ryan, it's Arles. It's halftime now. Honestly, with the first half, I'm very impressed with the defense.
Yes.
Your turnovers in the offense has been able to put any points on the board.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to say this real quick. I don't know why, and I wasn't as upset in this game as I thought I would be, and I think that first turnover really set the stage. Just kind of shattered my heart, so I didn't have to worry after that. But as soon as he took that ball, it was like I knew he was going to fumble. I don't know if anybody else felt that, there was just something in my bones that told me he is going to fumble this. I don't know if it's just because that just keeps happening over and over again with the turnovers early in the game that just screw us from the start. But as soon as he took that ball out, I just thought, this is getting, and he got smoked, and then the ball went out, and it was like, I just sat there and laughed, and I said, I knew that was going to happen. But so, I mean, just to your point with the turnovers, like you just get to the point where you know it's going to happen. It reminds me of, who was that? Was it Ty Montgomery? Where it was constant fumbles. I don't remember. I'm not sure if it was Ty, but it got to the point where it was like every time he touched it, you just expected the guy to fumble.
And we're only down by 10 points. That is phenomenal. That's really good.
Yeah.
Only down 10 points is 10-0. That's horrible for the offense.
That too.
This team has a lot of weaknesses.
It's called the offense.
We could be better in the trenches. We could possibly be better at cornerback. One weakness that I believe this team has, and I know people will, there's a sector of fans that will, disagree, is Jordan Love. Jordan Love, if for no other reason, there's a lot of things I could list to support why I believe that he is a weakness. Not the biggest weakness, but a weakness of this team. Biggest one, above all else, is inconsistency. Sure. Never know when he's going to show up. And people make excuses for him all the time. It's his elbow, it's his knee, it's this or whatever. He just got back from a concussion, whatever it could be. Watch other quarterbacks come back from all kind of stuff.
And look, this has been almost the entire year of bad quarterback play. There was that little window, right? There was a little window. And honestly, through that, I mean, he wasn't like mega elite if you look at his grades and whatnot. He played some pretty good games, but it was also like a lot of the rest of the team kind of was stepping up also. But I just, there never was that time where it was like, dude, this guy is elite, like last year. There was, a 9-game stretch where he was the best quarterback in football? That never happened this year. There was a time when he started to look like he, a couple games where he was maybe a top 10-ish quarterback. And that was it. Otherwise, I mean, these performances are shockingly awful. Shockingly awful.
They're not play at their peak level, at the best of their ability, but they come and they perform. Jordan Love, the exception of that stretch at the end of last season, I have not had confidence that he is going to, or I don't have confidence as to what Jordan Love we're going to get. Never know. And this game continues the second half like this. Want to be at the point where I'm no longer making excuses for Jordan Love. I'm no longer going to say that we have our franchise quarterback.
Well, and that's where I got with him a while ago. And not just him. I mean, this is just kind of how I get after a while. It's like you get to the point where you defend him because he's been good and you're allowed to have a bad day, right? Then it keeps happening and you kind of just get to the point where it's like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to stop defending you. And I'm just going to get to the point where you have to prove it to me. I'm not going to say anything defensively about you until you just can demonstrate it to me. Why should I sit here and defend it? There's no reason to defend that level of play. And so, I'm just not going to. If other people want to do it and they want to die on that hill because they think he'll be better next year, fine. He might be better next year, just like Caleb might be better next year, just like anybody might be. Bullard might be the best safety in football next year. Okay. And what does that have to do with anything?
I think it's possible. Do we draft a quarterback, a high round quarterback? No, we don't. Jordan at least gets another year, maybe even 2, right? I'll say a year. This continues into next season. The second half, and we open next season like this, we really have to start looking at our options at quarterback, right? I'm just very disappointed in him particularly. The penalties coming from Glover sucks, but he's a rookie, and I think it's his first game action, whatever. Just disappointed in this offense, particularly Jordan Love's decision making. I have seen several plays already from my couch. There was an open man. There was a play to be had, and he's not keeping his eyes downfield. At one point, he was looking to the other end zone. Can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
Running forward and looking backwards. I'm going to let you go, man. I just can't.
Yeah, I don't want to make the whole thing about Jordan Love wasn't good. I don't think anybody wants to hear that rant right now necessarily. Some people want to do it themselves. That's fine. We'll have time to discuss that. But look, I mean, I've heard other people talk about as far as Jordan, like, well, it's only his second year and he's a young quarterback and all that. Bull crap. This is what, year 6 or something in the NFL, and it's year 2 and he regressed. I mean, there's so many. In 2 full years, right? He had the entire time sitting on the bench, and that is credited to him. It's not as though that didn't exist. It's not as though he hasn't been in the NFL. It's not as though he hasn't been studying and mastering Matt LaFleur's offense. If there's anybody on planet Earth that should understand Matt LaFleur's offense as well as Matt LaFleur, it should be Jordan Love. So there's no excuse at this point. And this is year 2, and the fact that he regressed as much as he did, we'll see. We'll see, because I mean, look, I don't want to sound all dramatic talking about drafting a quarterback, but if I don't want to draft a quarterback, that's not what I want to do. I think that we have enough needs right now that would just be not my favorite thing. But if we're talking about the potential of starting a guy in 2 or 3 years, then this is exactly the time frame in which you would do it, right? Because the Packers generally don't want to, draft a quarterback and start him that year. So I'm just saying it's not impossible if they love a quarterback. Because I listen, we can make all the excuses in the world we want, but Matt LaFleur is not going to. I promise you, Gutekunst and LaFleur and the rest of the staff aren't going to sit there and make excuses for Jordan Love the way a lot of fans are. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. How do you defend that at this point? I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Hey Ryan, it's Joe the janitor.
What's up?
Long time no call, bud.
How you doing, man?
I might have missed the calling, but I haven't missed the podcast. Definitely thank you for this season and for the content. Really appreciate it. No, I didn't get to call much, but I was listening. And you were my top podcast for like the 5th year in a row, I think.
Awesome.
Over 100,000 minutes. Pretty amazing when you think about that.
Sure is.
I do work a lot, and that's most of the reason why I haven't been able to call. Oh, man. Been pulling out a lot of urinals, putting in bathroom stalls. And my work, no more urinals, I'd say. Anyway, halftime, and 10-0. I just got to say that hands down, I got to give it to Hasley. The defensive performance has been pretty great. We've been stopping them. The blitzes have been on point. It's sad that we've been playing so freaking sloppy. You can't win a game when you turn the ball over 3 times in the first half. Maybe in the second half we get 3 turnovers, and it turns around for us. I'm going to say one thing, though. I am a little bit optimistic. 10-0 could be way worse, especially Jordan. He's skittish. He's not looking good. He's definitely feeling the presence in the pocket, and losing Ellen Jenkins really hurts.
Yeah, that's rough. Real rough.
I mean, who's there to spread out the defense? Where's Bo Melton? Why do we have someone not pulling the safety sack? I don't get it. They're literally they're slamming us, and we need to definitely score some points and get better on offense, because the defense is doing all right, but I don't know. Halftime blues right now. Hopefully it turns things around. By the time you hear this call, you're going to know whether we did or not. Either be sad or happy. Right now, I'm not that happy. So I am happy about my wife's got a pot roast in the
hey, there you go.
Instapot.
Sounds
so I'm looking
good.
forward to that. Some meat and potatoes and carrots, and hopefully a better second half. For now, it's Joe the janitor signing off. Go Pack, go. Shalom.
Shalom. Yeah, well, things don't get better necessarily. I will say though, look, there's a lot of things I like. There are some people that I have my view of them has improved. I'm trying to think of a more articulate way to say that, but whatever. Very, very impressed with a lot of people. The way the amount of injuries. I mean, that was what I was essentially getting to is when all those injuries were happening, and you see this team just gutting it out, and everybody's just giving every last thing that they got, and they just didn't have anything left, and everybody's going out. Guys are playing hurt. Quay Walker, that dude was just down and out. It was done, and he's like, no, I'm not going out, and he fights through it, and he plays another play, and he had to go down. I don't know. I had a deep appreciation for a lot of guys because a lot of guys showed a lot of heart. They really did. Jaden Reed said, watch me in this game. And it took a while. I was like, I don't know, dude, I'm not seeing much. But whenever he was given an opportunity, that dude fought like his life depended on it. Josh Jacobs fought. Both of those guys go out. We didn't see much Romeo Dobbs, but he was diving for those balls. When he got hurt, he was skying in double coverage to try to come down with a football. I mean, you talk about a team putting their body on the line. They did everything they could, and they had nothing left. Everybody was out. Everybody got hurt. I'm sure some fans will come out, oh, they're soft or whatever. It's a silly thing to say. I mean, it's a team that just battled as hard as they possibly could, and just you see the result of it, man. They just got battered, and it was rough. And I just felt a deep appreciation for a lot of guys. I talked a lot about Quay this year, not very flattering. That was my favorite performance from Quay that I've ever seen. I can see his grade right now. It's not his best grade, not the worst, but I don't care. Every time I saw him, he was flying around the field. Great tackling, incredible tackle. He's always been a good tackler, but I feel like him and Edrin have just got a thing going. It's a great compliment. He's really doing well against the run. And then to see him just fight like he did, there's a lot of guys I just developed a deep appreciation for, and then some other guys that just didn't feel like showing up in the most important game of the season. And that's pretty frustrating. And I think it matters. I think, if you're Brian Gutekunst, sometimes guys have bad games. You can't put everything on it, but I do think it's a separate category. Do you show up? Yes or no? And then how often do you show up is important. But do you show up when it matters most is also important. And seeing Bullard rise to the occasion like he did. Seeing Quay rise to the occasion. Seeing Jaden, who's been kind of down and out the last couple weeks, call his shot prior to the game and say, you think I'm no good or whatever, you watch in this game. And look what he did. A lot of other guys had their worst games, and it's disappointing, It's tiring. Every single time we get to the playoffs, what Zach Tom's only bad game of his entire season, basically. I felt like the entire first half, I'm just screaming at Zach Tom, what the heck are you doing, dude? Most important person on our team, Jordan Love, does he show up? Yeah, fourth quarter. He looked pretty good. Maybe mid-third, I don't really know. Obviously, he threw his third interception of the game at the end, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I really don't. Well, let's take a break. We're going a little bit long here. We'll shorten this up. We'll be right back.
Well, it's Drew from Green Bay. Halftime, 10-0. We're losing, but we still have a chance to come back. We're lucky to be within striking distance yet. Hurts isn't playing well. Philadelphia is really not playing well outside of their offensive line run blocking, and they're getting at our quarterback a little bit. But we can definitely come back. But, this is who we are at this point. We can't say, if we didn't turn the ball over, if we didn't have a bunch of turnovers. Well, we're not that deep at offensive line because Gutekunst decided not to draft enough O-line. He just wanted to draft, a first rounder and then say, we don't need any depth. And then we've had penalties all at the end of even towards the end of the season. We say, we kind of cleaned it up. We still had a lot of penalties. And when you just
It was frustrating. I mean, I don't know, man. I was ticked off about the ticky-tack. Some of these holding calls, give me a frickin' break. I mean, there was the one, I don't know if it was on Elton or who it was, somebody in the middle, where it was essentially called a holding because, I'm seeing it. All I'm seeing on social media is replays of penalties that were not called. But it was one of these calls where I have come to learn, because I've watched it happen to Rashawn Gary pretty much every single play, where he gets past somebody and the guy's arm is around their neck. And it's like, well, that's a penalty. And I've been informed, no, that's actually not a penalty. Because if you look at in the rule book, it's something about like if you do a swim move and come under their arm, obviously that's going to push their arm up to your neck. And so it's not really a holding call. That's essentially exactly what happened. He pushed past our guy. And so his arm was around him. And he didn't grab him. He didn't really even slow him down. He got right to the quarterback. And they called, I mean, it's just, so I would take back most of the calls against us. I'm most upset at the end of the game when I'm going to calm down and be nice here, but these late hit things, not stopping at the whistle. I mean, the Keyshawn Nixon thing was super ticky-tack anyways, but still, don't be stupid. You're clearly out of bounds. Don't throw him to the ground. And then what, like 5 plays later? And I'm screaming at my TV as soon as the whistle goes off, let him go, let him go, let him go, let him go, let him go. And here comes TJ Slayton. Not only did he not let him go, he slams him on the ground after the fact. And by the way, critical. That was a second down stop that would have put him in third down. If we stop him there, they got to kick a field goal, and it saves us a bunch of time. Instead, it's a 15-yard penalty, obviously moves him all those yards, and gives him a new set of downs to burn off a bunch of time and take another shot at a field goal or at a touchdown. The defense again steps up, which is again where my heart is swelling with the amount of heart that these guys are showing on defense to be able to make these stops late in the game knowing the game's freaking over. After you did all that work and you get all those stops, one of your freaking teammates goes out and slams a guy, and so now you got to do it all over again. And that very first play, they get a really nice stop on Saquon Barkley, and all I can think is that would have been third down, and they would have been done and kicking a field goal right now. Instead, it's second down. That is critical. So yeah, I think if we negated all the bull crap penalties, it would have been kind of a normal day for penalties. I didn't see a ton where it was like, oh, okay, that was terrible. I think almost every single one of the holding calls was ticky-tack. I don't really remember what a lot of them were, but at the end, those are the ones that really like the TJ Slayton thing. Oh my Lord. And then it makes me even more angry when I see Matt LaFleur chewing him out and he starts arguing back. Like I know you can't hit a player, and I know that TJ Slayton would have destroyed Matt LaFleur. I understand that. But I would have, I mean, if I'm Matt LaFleur, I would have flipped. Like, I would have already been on edge. And if you start arguing back with me, take your effing pads off and get off my field now. Get off my sideline. Oh. Sorry, continue.
Like a stupid mistake here, a stupid mistake there. Coaches are making stupid mistakes. Everybody has there's
I didn't see any stupid coaching mistakes, but
there's a bad throw. There's this. You're not going to overnight just clean everything up and play a perfect game, or even play a good game. By a perfect game, I mean a game without like completely stupid penalties. So
True.
This is who we are. It's costing us. It'll probably cost us the game. Maybe we come back, maybe not, because the Eagles are playing bad, but that's where we are. And it's time for Gutekunst to start aging this team a little bit. It's not a badge of honor to be the youngest team every single year by like a year and a half.
I don't think that's his goal. I mean, it's just what are you going to... It's kind of cyclical. We had a bunch of old guys that got really expensive because we were going all in with Aaron Rodgers, again, despite the fact that everybody said we weren't. We're holding on to a bunch of overpriced old people. And when Rodgers left, we said, screw that, and we purged them all. And so now we have a young team. I don't think it's his intention necessarily. And I don't necessarily think it's a good thing to just get a guy because he's 30 either. We've had some older teams, and I don't think it's a good thing to be. Generally, older teams are not the better teams. But we have to have guys start to develop and be worth keeping. I mean, these 24-year-olds will turn 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, but they got to get there first. How many of our 24, 25, 26-year-olds do you even want to keep right now? They'll get older if we don't get rid of them, but somebody's got to play well enough for us to give them another contract and stick around. The problem is these guys are not good enough, so we have to get new people who come in that are better. We went out and got a bunch of safeties because the safeties we had were not good. Amos was old, so we got rid of him a while ago. All right, we had some old guys. We also had young guys like Savage, and Savage was not good enough, so he had to go. So we got replaced by young guys who were better. So, I mean, I don't think we need to rush out and get 30-year-olds. I just think the young guys that we have need to develop, and they need to become the guys. We need to start having guys that are our anchor points. And I think, Josh Jacobs is young, which is perfectly fine, and I think he's a great anchor point. Okay, good, we got that. I think Xavier McKinney, who's young, is a great anchor point at safety. Great, we got that. So now we got these guys that are going to start to age, that are going to start to be a part of this Packers team. They need some time to meld and come together. But I don't think you aim for young or old. I think you just make wise decisions. And as far as I know, Gutekunst has done all the right things in terms of, we need to get rid of the old expensive guys like, Preston Smith. That made us younger. It was also the right thing to do. But I do think there's a good chance that that's going to change at least a little bit. I mean, they might still be the youngest because there's a lot of young people. But I think there's a good chance that, free agency with the amount of money that they're supposedly going to have, we got to see what decisions they make and whatnot. But with free agency coming up, there might be a flurry here, which some people I think are going to be happy with, at least in the offseason. Obviously we got to see what happens in the road. But in the offseason, everybody's a winner. Everything's great. So we'll see. It's not that far away, folks. We got it's not going to be that long before free agency starts up, before the draft comes around. It'll all be here before we know it.
Every other team. It's ridiculous. So he's got to figure that out in the off season and see who we can bring in. Otherwise, we're maybe 2 or 3 years away from having a shot at the Super Bowl. We can't say.
I think we're just one player away from a Super Bowl. We have the defense. We have the special teams. I know he missed a kick. Okay, whatever. We have a very good special teams. We have a really young, talented, ascending defense. We have a great running back. We got to figure out the passing, right? Which starts with the offensive line, even though the pass blocking has been phenomenal this year, so I don't know that that's a problem. Which leaves us with receivers, and I like our tight ends, so that'll just be wide receivers and quarterback as the problem. And here's the biggest problem. We can speculate about all this bull crap. Well, we got to be older. We got to get wide receivers. We got to do this and do this and do this. If Jordan doesn't improve, none of this matters. None of it matters. I don't care what wide receivers you go get, how good the offensive line is, how good the run game is, how elite your defense is. If this dude's going to throw 3 picks in the offseason, we're never going to get anywhere. So I hate to oversimplify this, but it really is very, very simple from my perspective.
We're 1 year away anymore. We're not 1 year away. We're multiple years away. All right, bye.
I mean, I think we have more than enough to win. I don't know if we can get there if our quarterback play doesn't get better. I mean, multi-year for what? It's a phenomenal defense. What do we need? What do we need? Like, I mean, offensive line isn't dire. It would be nice, but it is a easily top 10 offensive line, probably top 5 offense. Maybe not top 5. It's easily a top 10 offensive line. If we're putting any emphasis on run blocking, then it's probably not top 5. But pass blocking, they probably pass the test. But that's certainly not a dire need. It would be nice. Same with wide receiver. It's not a dire need, but it would be nice. You know how I know? Because I've seen these guys open, and I know if the ball gets there, they're going to catch it, and then suddenly we don't have wide receiver problems. But if he doesn't throw it when they're wide open, then they don't catch it, and then they don't get any yards, and then everybody thinks the wide receivers suck because they didn't produce. I don't know how to fix this problem, but I'm telling you that is the problem. I'm sorry. That is going to be. Listen. I'd love to invest in like corners, even though I think the corners did a phenomenal. I mean, AJ Brown had what? 1 catch or something stupid? I mean, just locked them down. They did nothing. But yeah, we can just say that they suck anyways, even though they've been great, and go get an elite corner. I have no issue with elite anything. Elite corner, Pass rusher would be great. That was a big struggle in this game. Interior or exterior, would prefer a defensive end. Offensive lineman, pretty much anywhere. I mean, Zach Tom's not going to lose his job. If you want to put some competition out there at left tackle, I don't care. Be tough to beat the guy, but interior would be the biggest thing, although I think Elton Jenkins quite good. And, center right guard would be sort of the thing. Sure, yeah, I no issue with that. Wide receiver, absolutely. I'd love to get an elite wide receiver. I'd love if we get so lucky as to get the next Justin Jefferson, even though we're drafting late in the first round. That would be fantastic if we could be so lucky as to have something. Emeka Ibuka or whatever the guy's name is from Ohio State. Have another Ohio State guy fall, even though he's really talented, and then we pick him up for whatever reason, and he ends up just being the next what's-his-name out in Seattle. Yeah, that'd be glorious. It'd be amazing. I don't have a problem with any of this stuff. And I hate that the season ended the way that it did, because I'm not allowed now to change my opinion. I don't have the ability to see a thing and say, okay, there it is. There's the thing. Maybe the anomaly was the bad, and this is the thing. Now I'm stuck with this crap. So, I don't know. Let's take a break. We'll take a break. We'll come back. 1265 fan.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey.
1265 fan. So my outlook on the second half is
a lot of halftime calls.
The Packers offense is going to pull the you-know-what out of their you-know-what.
Okay.
And start freaking moving the ball and scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And how is our special teams all year long has been great. I shouldn't say all year in the very beginning. But once we found our kicker, our special teams really picked it up, and they've never really been any excuse to anything.
Right.
Today they gave up 7.
Today is a problem.
And actually it's a
10.
bigger swing than that because they missed a field goal.
Yeah, gave up 10.
So, 10-point swing. Think about that. What is it right now? 10-0. Okay. Jordan Love needs to get his head out of his you-know-what. Because I'm starting to get sick of it, and I'm always an optimist, but he is not playing good football. And he hasn't played good football. This is his third week in a row now. It's just, go through your reads quick and then throw it away or run. To me, that's what it is. That's what it should be. Quit waiting for everything, or, you want to go to this guy, so you wait for it to develop, or you don't trust the downfield thing, so then you go for something short. And it's just, can you just do the same thing every time? In regards to him, to Love, in regards to the way of reading and reacting, whatever. Just consistency, and just relax a little bit and stop trying to force everything. It's been a while. Yeah, thanks for letting me vent. Bye.
About sums it up. We got so many calls came in at the same time. 509, 509, 509, 510. A lot of half-timers. Goose, what's up?
Right. Been going at halftime.
By the way, Goose, I just remembered you sent me something to read on the podcast because you said the calls are getting too expensive and you wanted me, and I didn't do that, and I apologize. I've done that a bunch of times, by the way. People will send me something. I'm like, oh, yeah, no problem. And I forget, so I apologize. I'll go back and see. Now, why am I making that promise? I'm going to forget.
Turns the game. Back and win, but I can't watch this team shoot itself in the head anymore. Just Love is a problem. The whole offense is a problem. I can't believe I'm going to say this. If not, then it's our OC, and we need to do something different because this has been game 1 of the season. Even when it got good there, there were still problems we were seeing, and then it's gone.
Dang it, Goose, we're losing you. I don't want to skip his call because I know he has to pay for these.
The kickoff reason the ball. Oh yeah, here we go again with the refs screwing us. But in the first place, don't take the ball out and fumble. I'm disgusted with them.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say on it. Win or lose, I have something to eat.
Well, I didn't catch all of it, but I think we all understand the spirit of it. The frustration is real. I don't know, man. I don't really know how else to elaborate. And yeah, it's like, you know, I really hate to emphasize the refs because of how bad the offense was. I just was shocked at. I mean, it made me so angry because it's like I just want anyone to call it out. If the announcers, if Tom Brady, that frickin' jagoff, everybody hates Tom Brady as an announcer, and I'm like, I don't know what's so bad about him. I never really noticed anything. I wanted to murder that guy when this was going on. I mean, just say what's very obvious. And you got a ref. I don't know how. I mean, they're all watching replays. You got what's his name, the referee guy, just sitting there watching the replay. Just say something. Just say out loud that was a bad call, and I'll leave it alone. I can't handle the gaslighting. I cannot handle the gaslighting. I don't know. I don't know. That was one of the more infuriating games that I've ever watched, not because of the team. The team, I kind of lost heart in real early. Right when that fumble happened, it was like, okay, well, I guess we didn't change anything, and we didn't. We're the same team. Pretty good defense. Special teams is starting to sputter and cause problems, and offense is just atrocious. It's just atrocious. The only real good thing that I can take from this is the Eagles did the same thing. Their offense just completely went to zero at the end of the season, and they came back and their offense still is kind of the problem, but look how good that team is. Defense significantly improved, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, you never know what next season brings, but I don't know. I can't get over the ref thing. I just need the league to come out and apologize. You know, just say something. Just bring out something and be like, here's a list of all the things that they did wrong, and this crew will never be in the playoffs again. And I'll be good. I'll be good. And also fire Tom Brady. Just saying, by the way, Tom Brady's a freaking moron. And he called and he during the broadcast said that all these were great, and most of the time didn't even. I mean, he's just flat out lying. Oh, I'm talking about something else. I apologize. Trucker Bob, keep me on track here.
Well, Ryan, it's Trucker Bob here. Been watching the game while my wife was driving the truck across the country. You know, it could be much worse than it is. We're down 10-0, and except for that opening fumble and quick touchdown by the Eagles, the Packer defense has held very well.
Yep.
So I'm pleased with this. The offense, 2 interceptions, stops 2 drives, penalties. Again, it's the typical we kill our own selves. Now, if we come out the second half against the Eagles like we did against Minnesota and Detroit, we will win this ball game. If we don't, well, we can all talk about the interceptions, the fumbles, the penalties, and everything else that kills us all the time. And it's just frustrating with this team. But as bad as we played in the first half, that we're only down 10-0, that's encouraging. That's about the only good thing I have to say. Anyways, looking forward to the second half and these guys coming out fired up, realizing, hey, we can win this ball game after playing crappy. Trucker Bob out.
I mean, there always was some optimism pretty much throughout the game, but the only reason there was optimism was the defense. I mean, the offense showed little sparks here and there, but really couldn't hardly ever capitalize all the way down the field. And just because the defense kept us in the game was the only reason. It's like, oh, you know, it's the NFL. Stuff happens fast, you know, so that's pretty crazy.
Hey, Ryan, it's Craig. It's halftime. I'm sure you're getting a lot of phone calls at half. Obviously, terrible first half. But I don't know what's going on with refereeing starting at the first. kickoff return certainly looked like he had recovered it and he was on the ground, which would mean he's tackled, and it doesn't matter. You can't keep fighting for the ball after that. And the replay clearly shows that. So I didn't feel like the refs were going to help us at all this game. I was confused about the punt return where Jaden, right near the end of the first half, called for a fair catch, and then he got hit by an Eagle. I'm not sure why that wasn't a penalty. When they came back out of the break, it sounded like it was a penalty against the Packers because I don't know if someone else hit it first. I thought it went off the elbow of the Eagle guy. But anyway, maybe because he didn't catch the ball, you can hit him. I just didn't know how that was working. And also, Jordan just looked really out of sorts. That last interception right before half, I guess Kraft did fall, and then he started to run, then kind of stopped. And I don't know if Jordan expected him to keep running, but obviously a bad situation with that interception. And thankful that they didn't score off of it. So if I was an Eagles fan, I'd be pretty upset that we're only ahead 10-0 the way we've been playing. Defense is looking good overall, and so hopefully they can carry the day, but our offense has got to freaking do something. I hope we leverage our tight ends a little bit more, and not give up on the run, and surprise everyone the second half. I did my part. I came upstairs. I'm changing clothes. I'm going back down. See if I can help them out. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, I didn't do a ton, but I did a lot of changing positions. I feel like that does good. You stand up by the TV, get right up in that TV, and they start rolling. It's like, okay, this is what we're doing now. We're standing right in this spot. A little bit of pacing, but when that ball snaps, I'm right here. I'm engaged. 3 feet from this TV. My face is in this freaking thing. I thought I found the mojo. I thought we kind of had it going, and then it just kept slipping, man. The gears kept slipping. I don't know what else to say.
Well, my wife doesn't really watch football. I went upstairs because, I had to change my shirt because obviously first half, very much need to burn all those Packer clothes. So I got a fresh set, new scarf. She said, how's the games going? I said, honey, if you gave me an hour and a piece of paper and you told me to write the nightmare scenario, I would have failed to make it as bad as it was. But actually, it's only offensively now. Dobbs is down now. It's a gut punch. And here's the thing, though. I'm clear-eyed about how hard this is going to be. We can't play offensive line. We just lost Dobbs, and God, I hope he's okay, but my Lord. But here's the other thing, though. It's 10-0, okay? Just get some points here. Your defense is playing great. The Eagles' offense is freezing on the sideline, okay? They're literally booing the Eagles at home up 10-0, okay? Get some points here. It's a one-possession game. You got most of the third quarter to play and the whole fourth quarter. Beyond that, it doesn't matter, okay? Just win these 2 quarters, and you most likely win the game.
Yep.
And
that's part of what's frustrating because, again, the defense kept them in it, man. Just kept them in it. And if they ever just had that spark and just were able to fly. And listen, it's top defense in football. Like I said, it's one of the better defenses going into the playoffs that we've seen. Top 20 in like NFL history, or as long as DVOA goes back, which is like the 70s or something. So very, very good defense, for sure. But that doesn't excuse half the crap I watched. It just doesn't. The plays were there to be made. And they just weren't getting made, so I don't know what else to say.
Is it going to happen? No, because it just seems like anytime we get momentum, something equally unexpected and awful happens. But, man, there's a path here still, despite how bad we played. So here's hoping by the time you hear this, you go, oh, you're going to be happy about this, Kyle. Oh, I'm not happy about that, though. Come on, Romeo. I'm sorry, man. Well, yeah, that's tough to watch. They're helping off the field, but here we go, baby.
Yeah, and this is when everything falls apart. Everybody's getting hurt. It's just brutal ending here.
Well, Ryan, it's Kyle from Madison, and we're getting close to turn-off time here. They just scored a touchdown. I guess they did miss the extra point, but who cares? It's over. The worst part about this game, well, I guess it's not over, but I'm not going to watch the rest of this because it's too sad. Just everything happening is just very sad.
That's how I felt, man.
Just people, players, they don't The worst part about all this is Philadelphia is not a good team. This is a team that you want to talk about false bravado. I mean, I understand the Packers with what has happened these last 2 weeks, just from an injury standpoint, and getting a bit unlucky to start this game. I can at least understand a bit. They're just kind of run out of bodies. Talk about false bravado to sort of Eagles, man. This team is not good. Yeah, their defense is okay, but their defense isn't doing nearly as much as our offense is just imploding. I mean, their offense is terrible. There is no chance this team does anything after they get by us. I can't believe the bravado of the Philadelphia Eagles. This is your thing? This is what you're all thumping your chest for? Man, if we had just half the guys that are out, hell, just even even if just Jenkins wasn't out, I feel like we could cook a little bit. I mean, I don't know. It's 13-point game. If you need 2 touchdowns, you got to stop them. Still the third. I guess it's not impossible. I don't think I'm going to watch it, but because I always say that and then I can't stop. But man, Eagles, you're trash, dude. You're freaking. Are you kidding me? This is what you're all so confident that there's no chance you can lose. What a dude. The Eagles are nothing. Bye bye. The Eagles are crap, and we all know it, and their fans know it too, which is why they're booing. So yeah, sad day for Packers. Unlucky, also self-inflicted. It's just been one of those games, you know. I don't know who to blame. I don't really care. I mean, but the Eagles, man, you're trash. They really are. I'm not just coping. I mean, you can't look at this and be like, wow, what a great team we lost to. No, they're awful. But who knows? We'll see. Maybe we get something going here, get a touchdown. Still 3 minutes plus in the third. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I would give more credit to the Eagles, in part because I'd give more credit to our defense. I mean, their offense was basically shut down by our defense. We did a really good job of containing the run, better than I think most. I know that the numbers are going to be that they ran 1,000 times. You look at the percentage of the time that we got that guy down in an acceptable range. I think they did a fantastic job containing that. I think they did a pretty good job containing the quarterback too. He took off a couple times. And I think the most impressive thing about this defense is there have been a couple times where you look, and just based on my history with Packers defenses, you look and it's like, oh, that's going to be a big one. And somebody comes up, usually Edgerrin Cooper or Quay a couple times, come up and just make a great tackle. It's like, oh, that, you know, it was like a 5-yard gain, but I thought that was going to be like a 15, 20-yard gain for sure. So I was just very impressed with the defense. And I think the Philadelphia defense is legit. And then you look at the competition. I mean, they're not a perfect team, but do I think the Eagles could beat the Rams and Minnesota? And I think so. I really do. And the Lions might even be a better matchup because I think the Eagles would be the best team to give their offense a run for their money. And their offense is probably good enough to score against that depleted Detroit team. So, I mean, we'll see who Philadelphia has to play next. Probably, I don't know, Minnesota or Washington if they win, I think it would be. Or no, they would play Minnesota. It depends if what. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who wins. Because Detroit's going to get the lowest seed. But yeah, I would give them more credit. And again, a lot of that is just giving ourselves a little bit more credit. Is it the most dominant team? I mean, I tell you what, when I watch like Baltimore or even Buffalo, do I think they're on that level? No, I don't. I mean, their defense might be better, but man, I'm watching stuff. You look at like what Lamar's doing and what I can't get Hurts out of my head. The Buffalo quarterback, for crying out loud, Allen. You watch what those guys are doing, and that offense is on another level. It just is. So, do I think Philadelphia goes all the way and wins the Super Bowl? No. Do I think they could go 2 to the Super Bowl? I kind of think that they could. And you'd end up with a like offensive powerhouse against a defensive powerhouse kind of a situation. All right, Jersey Mike, why don't you close us out?
Hey, Ron, it's Jersey Mike. So, Goddard just went in for that touchdown on Carrington Valentine. I think I want to just speak on this because this defense has been playing really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Hafley, you got to keep calling stuff like that. Evan Williams is eventually going to get the idea that he needs to, if he sees that little route being run with that little rub route, you get up there and you pick that ball. Jair out.
I was impressed with Evan. I don't think PFF gave him a super great. I don't exactly remember. There were just a couple guys that got it. I don't think he was on that list, but he was another guy that I thought, especially not having played for a while and honestly not being super great down the stretch before his injury, every time I saw him for the most part, even like you said, if it's not perfect, the little tweaks here and there, I think overall for a young guy, I was happy that he stepped. So many. I know we're a young team, but it was a lot of the young guys that you wouldn't expect to stepping up and filling in for guys that really should have stepped up.
Alexander and Keyshawn Nixon all the time come up with balls off of plays like that. And we're missing Jair right here. This game is telling me we're missing Jair. I don't think we understand how much we miss Jair.
Yeah, I agree.
Carrington Valentine is good. And he's come up with some picks. But this is also a learning experience for him. Especially when you're going zero blitz and you see that underneath route stuff. If anything, your one job is to cover underneath. Everything over the top is like kind of fair game when you go zero blitz. It really is. So when you see somebody going out route, Evan Williams, when you see your guy trying to go stalk block, right? Like just go up and get the ball. Run as quick as you can. Get in between the receiver that the quarterback is looking at and the QB and take that ball all the way back to the house. That right there is the kinds of plays that we need to make to win games like this. Anyway, go Pat, go.
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, look, these are tough plays to execute. I just on social media said I don't want to hear about young team anymore, but let me pull that stupid trope one time here. There are certain guys that applies to. As a whole, that doesn't apply. I think when you look at the biggest issues, youth is not an excuse, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. But for guys like Evan Williams, and I don't know, whoever, Valentine maybe not. These are tough calls. Hafley is really going out and trying to do some stuff. He's definitely. I mean, I'm really impressed with Hafley. I really am. The more I sit here and think about it, the amount of injuries, he's really not able to run his style of defense. Right? We heard about what his style of defense was, and it turns out we did the exact opposite. And I think it was number one, the players that we have, and number two, the fact that we just don't have his. Not only did we build in that direction, we don't have the guys that are needed like Jair to be able to do the stuff that he'd want to do. And so he struggles to be aggressive because when you're aggressive, the responsibility on, if you're bringing a bunch of guys, those corners and those safeties, you got to be perfect and you got to really know what and honestly, you just got to be gifted kind of in some ways. And certain guys are just going to be able to handle certain situations better than others. So I mean, I'm not mad at Hafley because you gotta pull that trigger once in a while, and it was largely successful. It was almost successful in that play as well, but you got to come up and be able to make a play on it, even if you just get a tackle, But we didn't, and so there is some youth that's a problem, especially on Hafley's side. It's much more that the bigger issue here is the excuse is youth, but the problem is the youth is what showed up. The youth is on defense. There's a lot of really young guys starting over there, but also it's the first year in the system for everybody. This offense has been going for years, and there's not a lot of guys that haven't been here for more than a year. So I think as a broad spectrum excuse, I think it's a bullcrap excuse. However, there are more people on this team to be excited about their future than most teams because there's so much youth on this team, and I think guys like Evan Williams, potentially even Bullard. Edgerrin's pretty much already there, but Edgerrin, Cooper, maybe Quay even a little bit. He's starting to blossom. I think Edgerrin's been a big part of that. There's some people, and I'm excited about maybe getting a few more on that defensive line. Get some Hafley guys. I kind of like some of the guys that we got, but I'm excited to just let Hafley do his thing. I mean, I know Gutekunst ultimately makes the decisions in finding. Hafley makes the grocery list and Goot does the shopping, so to speak. But I'm excited to see what Hafley can put together. I really am. But the issue we got to figure out is the offense, and we got to get that ripping. But I think that's a good point. I think we're a little deficient on the defense in terms of being able to do everything. And you see Hafley pull the trigger once in a while, and you just wish it could be executed. Right now, Hafley's in kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. If you bring extra guys, the guys on the back end can't handle it. And if you don't bring extra guys, there's no pressure, and the guys up front can't handle it. So how he's been able to do what he's been able to do, I don't understand. I don't know why they're not just destroying everybody, that the pass rush isn't getting home, and bringing extra guys has a lot of times been a disaster. So, I'm looking at it like that, and I'm thinking this defense must be terrible. And it's like, it's not, though. It's really weird. I don't know. But no, it's not all bad, man. There's a lot to be excited about. We got some work to do on the offense. I'm not talking about a new quarterback at this point, but we do have to figure out how do we get that other version of Jordan back. Maybe it's just been injuries all year and he's just been flustered and he needs an off season to just get his body healthy, get his mind right, get comfortable with some guys. It's got to be tough, when you get into a rhythm with Jaden Reed and then Jaden Reed kind of gets taken away by people and he's not your guy anymore. And, then Wicks is your guy and then Wicks isn't really doing it anymore. And then Watson's your guy and then Watson gets hurt. I'm not going to pretend that he's had it easy, but we got to figure it out because I think, I'll say it one more time on the closing here, what I've said 1,000 times. Oh, look, Washington's running our plays. They stole the Matt LaFleur spinning handoff move. That's pretty funny. I love that we have an innovator as a play caller. Yaya Diaby, I remember him. Sorry, I'm distracted. I just turned the game on. But again, what's my line? This team will go as far as Jordan Love will take it. So that is the number one priority. Whatever it takes. If it's a number one receiver thing, go get him whatever it costs. If he just needs a safety valve and something to feel comfortable with, go get it. Then he'll be able to have Josh Jacobs who you can rely on. You got Tucker that you can rely on. You got this receiver over here you can rely on. Then you got a couple other guys, Dobbs or whoever. We'll see who comes back and who doesn't. Can't imagine we're getting rid of a bunch of guys considering Watson's going to be out for the year. But yeah, there's nothing more important for this team than finding a way to get Jordan back to elite status. He's got it in him, and that's the best part of it. That's the benefit. It's not like it's one of those guys where we just never seen it. Some of these guys will show it for a play or they'll show it for a game, but they just don't. They don't just have it. Jordan Love has it, and we've seen it, and we got to get it back. So, on to the offseason, boys and girls. Onward and upward. This is the fun part, man. This is where we get to build. This is where we decide the future of the Green Bay Packers. And they've started a new identity. They have started building in a new direction, and I really like the direction. It's a physical, violent team, and I feel like Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur have been trying that for years. You kind of notice they've been working in that direction, but they've always had that soft label. Even last year, you're like, okay, they're going to be physical and tough, and they just got spanked. And this year, something turned, and suddenly, Halfley changed the defense, I think, a lot. And I think Josh and Tucker Kraft helped to change the identity of our offense a little bit. And I think we keep building in that direction. I think we keep going out and getting big, physical, mean mothers. And let's just go smash some people, dude. You know what I mean? Let's go get some just road grading offensive linemen. Let's see if we can get what Philly and Detroit have for an offensive line. I mean, again, I feel like we're being greedy because we have a really good one, but I tell you what, teams that have great ones, it's so hard to beat them. You can't get to the quarterback. You can't stop the running back. And we got a running back right now where if we could blow this guy open some holes, he would take over entire games. We got a lot to be excited about. There's one huge concern, but I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on the dude. I don't know what the heck happened. Last 3 games, everything fell apart, but screw it. We scrub it. We move on. All right. You guys have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.